Morning, everyone. Welcome, day 3. My little bit of housekeeping job that I was given was to make sure that you've all checked out from your rooms and that your luggage is securely stored, etc., in the room over there. Okay, but we're off and going. So we're going to start with our panel, and I'm going to introduce them, and we'll go from there. All good? Very good. Okay. I think we'll start with Kanika Sinha did her Masters in Social Development from the University of Sussex and has over 18 years of experience in the youth development sector. In her current role at Community, the Youth Collective as the convener, Kanika supports the facilitation of the community of collective of over 140 plus organisations. Jesus. Spread across 20 states. She's part of the core team that facilitates the Vada Leap Coalition. Now, if you haven't had a look at the Vada Leap Coalition, you should. It's amazing. It is amazing. The work that Community does is incredibly impressive. So for some of you that were here yesterday, you were introduced to Ashraf. She's entrusted to build partnerships and alliances towards amplifying the fifth space approach to youth-centric development. Under her leadership, the hashtag? Sorry. The Sathnaba? Oh, Sathnaba. Okay. Campaign has also been recognised by the World Economic Forum, COVID's Response Alliance for Social Entrepreneurs. Awesome. And for those of you that don't know and weren't here yesterday, the last session on the fifth space, it's just an amazing so let's see if I can get it. Family, friends, employment, leisure. And then there's a fifth space. That when I first was introduced to this, it's everything that we know that a young person needs: their agency, it's their own spirituality, who they are in the world, etc. The fifth space. So it's awesome. You can use it now. It's okay. Okay, off we go. Thank you. There you go. That one's on.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's been absolutely amazing to be here the last couple of days. Just sort of being in a space where you're experiencing the most powerful, diverse youth work and youth workers has just been really, really fantastic. So thank you so much for being here. And, also just wonderful to have the opportunity to share a little bit about our experience in India. So for those of us who were here yesterday, Ashraf sort of already introduced this idea of the Jagrik, our mission. We call it every youth a Jagrik, every space nurturing Jagriks. A Jagrik is a self-awakened, aware, active citizen. So there's a little nuance of the self in there that's very important to us. But we really believe that every young person can be a Jagrik, but we also know that for that, every space needs to nurture that Jagrik, needs to unleash that Jagrik potential. And that's what we're trying to do. We're Community, the Youth Collective. We basically were a community of practice of, at that point, about 100 organizations that worked with young people across India. And as you can imagine, India is a very diverse country. So young people from every kind of context were basically represented in that coalition through the youth workers and the youth engaging organizations that were there. In 2019, we formulated the Varta Leap Coalition. So we facilitate the coalition, which is 150 or so organizations now. And this was really because, when we framed our mission as every youth a Jagrik, every space nurturing Jagriks, we realized that as the community of practice, we were only speaking to people like ourselves. We were speaking to other youth workers who already believed in youth-centric development, who knew that young people needed to be at the front and center. But if every space needed to be that Jagrik unleashing space, we needed to be speaking to people from other sectors, people with different experiences, and we needed to learn to co-create with them, to include them, to engage them, and to sort of shape with them. And that's how the Varta Leap Coalition has come together. What we do is we're building vibrant ecosystems to nurture youth leadership, to create empowering spaces where young people's potential can be unleashed. We do it through 3 strategies, basically. We amplify, amplifying voices of young people, voices of youth leaders, voices of youth workers, and also build social hope, also sort of spread narratives of social hope, which often just stories of young people and their leadership brings about so much social hope. We're also trying to influence influencers. So people, and when we say influencers, we say it's anyone who who has an influence over a certain space. So it could be young people themselves, youth workers, but also people, in sort of policy and programming spaces where they can bring in the youth-centric development lens. We accelerate youth work and youth-centric development by developing sort of tools and games and modules and films and resources that youth workers can use to accelerate youth leadership across the country. And there's some wonderful resources actually available on our website. There's a YouTube channel with some fantastic films, many in English. And it would be lovely if any of you would like to use them. We sort of also try to aggregate the best, that's the collectivization piece, the best youth work practices and experiences across the country for learning to really, build the sector, shape the sector. It is an unrecognized sector in India. The effort has been to bring together as many youth workers and youth work experiences as we can and just build on them. We also like to describe our work in the language of being, seeing, and doing. And where being is just the collective exists, the coalition exists because it must, because we need community, because we need belongingness, because we need solidarity, all of us as youth workers. And that's one reason for why we are. Seeing is the way in which we choose to see the world together, the lenses we use, the frames we use, the frameworks we use, the principles we use. So that's something we're co-creating. And doing is sort of all the acceleration, public initiatives, inside out youth leadership journeys, campaigns, narrative building. There's a lot of doing that happens as well, but all 3 are in a sense incomplete without the other. And that kind of makes, the coalition thriving and robust and dynamic. There's also sort of, how when I spoke of seeing and how we look at young people. At least in the context that we come from, but seems fairly universal, is there are sort of 3 lenses that are often used to view young people. So the economic lens, which is, seeing young people as consumers, as workers, they'll contribute to the GDP, and that's an important role they play. There's a protection lens that sees young people as having problems, as needing our support, our intervention, as problems that we have to solve. And there's the problem solver lens, which is where they're seen as, well, problem solvers for us. So they'll fix everything that's wrong with the world. And young people are needed because they have great energy and they have this ability to take risk. And, there's just lots of hands and feet out there that can get so much done. And, while these are all sort of lenses that have their own value and different stakeholders will have different lenses, we choose to use the youth-centric development lens, and that does incorporate all of these. So they're all valid, they're all true, but we also feel like young people have to be looked at from every dimension possible, and we have to recognize that youthhood is such an important time of self-discovery, of learning about the world, of gaining confidence, of exploration, and of really taking charge and ownership of themselves and society. And that's what we try and sort of encourage, and again become key facets of the way that we design the work that we do. So the question that young people are often exploring is, who am I and what can I become? And that's part of the design elements that we use. But we also get them to explore who are we as a society, who are we, and how can we develop sort of shared leadership to take ownership of the commons. And there's many skills and competencies and capacities there that then sort of kind of develop the young person as a whole. And so, self and society have been key to all the work that we do always. And that's actually also the story behind our name, Commutiny. And many people ask us this. It's about the sort of transformation that happens within a young person as they go out in communities and start working. So self and social transformation. The byline is the first mutiny is within. So that's the story behind Commutiny. Many people have asked. Just wanted to share that. We also, for us young people, it takes a spark. I think everyone here knows that, to sort of unleash that potential. But we also feel like young people need support as they move along in their leadership journey. So it might start with a little window, but many young people would like to pursue that journey. And so we do try and look at it as a sort of pipeline of shared leadership. And that's the way we see that potential to catalyze youth leadership at scale. The first level, sort of like an entry point into youth leadership, is what we call the Just JAGRIC space, where young people, these are sort of little windows where young people start developing a belief within themselves, but also an ownership towards social transformation. This is the first stage is typically adult designed and then youth led. The second phase is when many of these young people decide they want to take charge of issues within their own communities. They identify those issues. They develop and design ideas that can then sort of try and solve for those issues. And so those social actions are led by them. And that's what we call the Jabardast JAGRIC, next level of leadership. They're early stage youth leaders. And then we have the lifelong youth leaders, Jeevan Jagriks. These are young people who make change making a part of their lives and typically start working with young people themselves. And so in a way become schools of youth leadership and active citizenship as well. And that creates a whole new cascade of Just JAGRICs and Jabardast JAGRICs and Jeevan Jagriks. And that's really how we see this mission of every youth a JAGRIC becoming a reality. And it's been really fascinating to actually see that happen over the years with many young leaders who entered into these sort of Just JAGRIC journeys and have now become lifelong JAGRICs and are facilitating journeys like that for many others. Just a quick sort of glimpse into some of the work we've done over the years around participation and civic engagement. A large number of young people that we've worked with, but also worked with duty bearers who have worked with duty bearers. We've tried to work on changing community norms on a lot of social justice issues in the country. We've, as I said, developed frameworks and principles that guide most of our design and our interventions with young people. And this whole collectivization piece of bringing together practice and experience to further shape the sector. And we are hoping that with sort of many more collaborative opportunities through the Commonwealth and otherwise, we are able to bring a little more legitimacy to the work that we're doing. There's hundreds of thousands of youth workers in the country doing some really amazing work. And I think it's really important that they get the recognition that they deserve, but also that is able to inspire many others. Because those of you who heard Ashraf yesterday, India is a very large country. We have a huge population of young people. And what we do need is a youth worker in every village, in every community, in every school, in every institution. Just a shout out to everyone here who's helping make that happen, but also if there's collaborations to do that, we'd love to connect up. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. So we have had an unfortunate turn of events where one of our speakers has had a car accident on the way here. She's okay, which is the good news. Car's probably not. So we do have some time up our sleeve, which will be good to use over a cup of tea and a chat. But also, if you have some questions, we have some time for each of our speakers. If you have any comments or questions of Kanika and her, I mean, it's amazing work in India. How many people have you got? 323 million?
Yeah.
323 million. As an Aussie, can't even begin to relate. Big country, 25 million. Yeah. Don't know what we would do with the other 300. Anyway, before we move on, has anyone got any comments or questions? Okay, great work. All right, let's move on. Whoops, I've lost my little space. Here we go. Jason. So Jason Allen is the founding director of Mary's Charity, but he's also received a medal from the Queen, from Lizzie. A specialist beacon for vulnerable young people affected by serious youth violence and at risk of exclusion. Mary's Charity provides mentoring, counselling and gang interventions, reaching over 1,000 young people per year affected by serious youth violence, gangs or mental health, creating therapeutic programs and training. For the past 17 years, Jason has worked in providing socio-economic support across various sectors, supporting within schools, communities, governments, NHS. What's the HMPPS? Okay. And the Met? Okay, thanks. On strategic direction for violence reduction, social and emotional wellbeing interventions. Jason was awarded, the medal from Lizzie in 2021 and holds qualifications in a master's in psychoanalytical therapies and interventions, a BA Hons, in social pedagogy, as well as various training across the psychology sector. There we go. I think I've done it justice. Yeah, all good. Go.
Hello, everybody. Everybody hear me okay in the back? Yeah, good stuff. All right, guess I'll stand up. Thank you for having me, first and foremost. I'll start a bit about, okay, because of the camera, okay, right at the front then, fully exposed, don't want to stand in front, fully exposed. How long do I have roughly? Just talk, just go wild, okay. So this to me seems like quite an important and powerful room. So I don't tend to. I'll start off a bit about how I started and founded Mary's Charity when I was 19 years old, but I don't tend to share this first part of my story as to what led me up to it initially. But we're in an important room. So when I was 13 years old, me and my friend, we went to primary school. Life was typical, say, low income family from London, single parent, etc. Me and my friend, we used to go play football at a place called Coram's Fields when we was kids. And we didn't really know too much about the world. You know, we just carried on. You know, we had a bit of hardship, reflective within what London living was. You know, and then all of a sudden, when we were 13, Diego stopped turning up. And then I found out a few days later that he had died. And for me, that was quite challenging, you know, because I didn't quite understand why. And then a few weeks later, I'd found out that he was murdered. And again, I was a bit challenged by this because I was 13 years old. I grew up around some rough circumstances, but nevertheless, for a 13-year-old to be murdered was quite impactful for me. Then when a few more months went by, and it turned out that my friend had not only been murdered, but he had been sexually abused for a long period of time by a homeless person that was living outside his house. And again, as you can imagine, I was deeply challenged by this. I really felt, how has this happened? You know, how's my friend, similar circumstances to me, you know, we're a bit rough around the edges, we know what's going on, you know, but again, within the context of London living, right? And I found myself really challenged. I was upset, and as then time goes on, I turn sort of 14 years old, I become extremely at risk and vulnerable myself. I start to get involved in gangs and in violence because I didn't understand why things were happening in my life and why things could happen like that to my friends. So I became extremely at risk, and I was around a lot of crime and a lot of violence from a very young age. I then turned, when I was 15, turned 16, I then got taken into hostels. That means basically social services, which is sort of like when the government care for you as an individual. They came and they removed me from my house. And this isn't a reflection of my mum, because my mum's amazing, best grandmother I could want to my children, but she struggled. And I got removed from my house just before my 16th birthday. And went into hostels, and the hostels that I was in was an adult hostel, which I shouldn't have been in, but they put me into an adult hostel. I got taught quite early at the age of 16. I got taught how to sort of like do my washing. I got taught by a lady called Kirsty that she worked in the streets essentially. And that was my next door neighbor in my hostel, and she taught me how to cook, clean. And I was growing up in this very tough environment, and I had a lot of questions: why me, etc. And for me, it was sort of like fight or flight, and it was always going to be fight because I never had anyone in my life fight for me. So it came to I was about 18, and my old youth worker, because I'd been scattered around London, I'd lived everywhere around London, every corner. So I knew people that are involved in violence and gangs all across the capital. And it came to when I was 18, and my old youth worker approached me and said, "Oh, Jason, we're going to go Bangladesh. Do you want to come?" I was like, "Why would I want to go Bangladesh?" Respectfully, I don't know. I don't know what's going on out of London. Why I need to go there? And left it. And I hadn't seen this youth worker for years. And a week later, by chance, I saw him again. He was like, "Oh, Jay, we're gonna go Bangladesh. I think you should come." So I was like, "No, like I've got to look after my little brother. I've got to make sure that he's okay. He doesn't go through the same stuff that I went through. I've got stuff to do here." And he said, "All right, Jay." He goes, "Jay, there's gonna be food." So I said, "Say no more. I'm there." Right. Long story short, we done like a 6-month project, which was a community cohesion project essentially. And we went to Bangladesh, and we helped to fundraise whilst we was here, and we volunteered in a couple of orphanages, and we was there for about 3 weeks, roughly. We went to Dhaka and Sylhet, and then I came back, and that didn't change my life, because in my mind I felt when I was there, I seen the young kids that were just it was difficult to see, because what they were going through was I couldn't compare my life to theirs. They had so much more hardship than me. But then when I was coming back to my life, I knew that I had the environment I was in, and I had to stay tough essentially to survive. And that's kind of what I felt. And then as I was involved in a lot of naughty things, I thought to myself, I really want to help the younger kids that are around me. So I started to speak to my friends' little brothers, my little brother. I said, "Listen, man, give me a shot. If your dad pours alcohol on you at 2 a.m., you call me and I'll sort it out." I said, "If you're hungry, call me. I'll take you to Pizza Hut. We'll get a pizza." And this is what I started doing when I was 18. And then a youth club said to me, "Oh, listen, if you want to, you can use one of our halls." Right? In this youth club, they used to have maybe like 20 kids in there. I was like, "All right, cool." So I started to call like young kids that were vulnerable, essentially what you'd say gang members, etc. 14, 15, 16-year-olds. Within a couple of months, I probably had about 100 kids inside this hall, to the extent where the youth club will come into me saying we've got to close it off. It's against health and safety regulations. So I was like, "What are you talking about? Health and safety regulations? We got the kids in here safe." And that's kind of how it started. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. And that was 17 years ago. I had no education when I started it, no GCSEs, no A levels. I tried to resit my maths GCSE, which is quite important here. I failed it 3 times. I tried to do bits of work here and there. I did try and get a job. I got a job in an orange factory, which made orange juice. I tried to do little things here and there, but my mechanisms for communication were not good enough. I just couldn't handle any form of disrespect. I couldn't handle any. If someone spoke down to me in any way, shape, or form, I just couldn't handle it, which meant I couldn't function in those environments. So I couldn't be in those environments. So anyway, I then there's an opportunity arise where someone essentially that was funding a post up at a place called Mary's. It was a church, and they said, "Listen, Jason, there's some people planning for it, but take your project up there, and you can grow it, and you'll have a bit of protection." And I was like, "What project?" And he was like, "No, Jay, you've got something here. Like, you're working with 100+ young people that are vulnerable. You're really onto something." And essentially, what I'd created, again, this is all hindsight, right, was a 24/7 project where my phone was on 24/7, and you could call me any hour of the day. I could be quite far. I know people, map-wise may not know, but I sometimes I get a call and I got to travel 2 hours to where this vulnerable young person is and support them in various different ways, right? So anyway, started the project there, and then 17 years later, I'm gonna just skip a whole load of stuff here. 17 years later, hindsight tells me that I started a project, a 24/7 model based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs and attachment theory. Those two things were attachment theory. I just need to show you that there's positive people in your life. If I show you that I'm not going to go anywhere and I'm there, you can do better. So there's attachment theory and Maslow's hierarchy of need. I don't want to stretch it with the whole needs, but just a basic intervention of food and love. If these young people felt love from myself or some of my team members, and if they were fed like I was fed back then we can make an intervention. They will listen a bit more. We can be able to support these vulnerable young people. And that's what I started. So 17 years later, we've got 14 caseworkers. We work across London. We've got 2 sites, one in Camden and one in Hackney. We provide mentors primarily to schools. The reason why we provide the mentors to the schools is because we have a real focus on development and going up to 25. So we work with 12-year-olds up to 25-year-olds. Now, if one of our caseworkers starts working and mentoring with kids, I'll give them, say, a year 9 or a group of, say, 14-year-olds. That caseworker, historically, within our team, will work with some of them for the next 10 years. But you need to start that attachment from a young age. So that's why I say we provide the mentors to the schools. And then they go with them along that journey. We've just recently partnered up with CAMS, which is Children's Adolescents Mental Health Service, which is sort of, on our end, it's the main stamp of approval to an extent that you'd want in the UK if you're working with young kids that are experiencing levels of trauma. So we've just partnered up with them to run our therapeutic programs that we've been creating. And we run a gangs mediation service around the clock. So our caseworkers, we can get a call at 3 a.m. to say there's been a stabbing in this area. We will then put our team together, and within 24 hours, we'll work out a strategic, dynamic plan as to who's potentially involved, where repercussions might happen, and how we can influence that and impact that. And we will put in live mediation to contact individuals and say, listen, don't get involved in this, etc. That's sort of like a unique part to what we do, because we try and teach that model elsewhere when it comes down to gangs and serious youth violence. We do a lot of work with various other services, but we can also be hypercritical, unfortunately, or fortunately, because I feel that my experience of youth services is that some people were just there to sort of get a paycheck, and that was my experience. And I found that really difficult, and I felt that there were many young people that continued to slip through the net. So we created this sort of slogan that sort of says, we do our at-risk work. How many young people are at risk? They're at risk. They're at risk. You need to work with them, get them a mentor, support them. But I guess essentially what I started was to work with the risk, not just the at-risk. So our main thing is that we're working with the risk. By that I mean is the risk to themselves and the risk to the community. The young people that are not engaging with social services, not engaging with education, and they are only really engaging with the criminal justice system. We've grown the project now to where we are having conversations with, about to have conversations with the education department about becoming a education provision. Again, not to change focus on who we are and our identity, but to support young people that are being excluded. And I'm sure many of us understand that pipeline from education into the criminal justice system. And yeah, that's kind of roughly a bit about who we are. I'll talk a bit more today about it, but out of our 40, we've got loads, we've got a very big team, but out of our 14 caseworkers, 11 of them came up through the project. And that was very important for us because they understand the ethos, they understand the amount of hours, say myself or my team members put into supporting them. So they understand that ethos. It can be, so they're now have turned their lives around and now they're giving back, and their caseworkers working in various different capacities. And that's kind of who we are, really. Yeah. Thanks.